So the early days of the UFC, break it down to me. I want to know how you got the gig. How'd you get involved? How did you become the voice of MMA?
I was at ESPN doing the NHL on ESPN, and Bruce Connell, may he rest in peace. If you're a UFC fan, you heard me say hundreds of times, Tonight Show, produced by Bruce Connell, directed by Anthony Pasquale Giordano. So Brucey and I are doing hockey together. I was at ESPN then with the Red Wings, and Bruce Beck, who was the first ever announcer, got a full-time job at NBC in New York. He was kind of freelancing and had a lot of times available to freelance and do the UFC. Like he was the sideline reporter for the Knicks. I was the sideline reporter for the Bulls. He would do the small conference college games. I was doing them in Chicago. But then he gets his dream job, so he can't freelance anymore because he's busy. And Brucey goes, Goldie, I got a gig for you. It's in Japan. You got to take a jiu-jitsu class. And I was like, okay, gig, Japan. What was the third thing? Like, no, I didn't like that one. So I took Muay Thai instead. Yeah.
Wow.
Although you were a good wrestler.
Yeah, I got good later. MMA made me better at wrestling.
Yeah?
Yeah, because I started late.
I saw some, I was doing some background checks, even though I've known this guy for probably going on 30 years now. But Q, you and, starting wrestling. And you know what's cool? Bear, is that there's so many stories where fighting saved someone's life. And that's what you were talking about in one of the previous episodes.
Yeah.
Yuli the Monster Diaz, the fighting pride of the 305, just took his last walk into combat. And that was with BYB. It was a bare knuckle bout, 26-second knockout. In Miami, Yuli shirts all over the place. It was awesome. He's a legend down there. But same thing. He was in prison. He was selling drugs at a young age. He was doing whatever he could to support his family. And then his line, and I love it, he goes, I got tired of my own shit. So I turned it around, and fighting saved his life. So it was cool. It was cool seeing some of that video, man. It was really cool.
Oh, man.
Really cool.
Yeah. It's crazy how that works. I just feel like, especially back in the day, a lot of people that went into fighting, they wasn't like the rich kids. They wasn't like the kids with the silver, you know what I'm saying?
Yep. Yeah.
It's a tough sport. It's a different field to go into.
No question. And I think wrestling, you're just, as a wrestler, you're on a different landscape, man. Yeah. I'm old enough to remember the wrestling team running around in garbage bags, literally to cut weight, like
First
garbage
sweat.
bags. Yeah. So Brucey brings me over to Japan. SEG owned it back then. My first ever fight was Ultimate Japan. Of course, he loves that.
Oh, yeah.
Randy Couture defeated Maurice Smith to become the UFC heavyweight champion of the world.
I remember that.
Yep. And Frank Shamrock came out of the shadows of the world's most dangerous man. And Frank armbarred Olympic gold medalist Kevin Jackson out of Michigan State in 21 seconds or something.
I remember that Kevin Jackson, he was doing really good in UFC.
He was, absolutely. Because he was an Olympic caliber wrestler.
Yeah.
He was doing really good. And Frank just said, boom, 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 damn. That was the submission game back then that wasn't quite as misunderstood as it was when Hoist would be getting the crap beat out of him. All of a sudden, people are tapping. It wasn't that unexpected, but Frank was just really great at it. And Pancrase background and the whole bit. And then that was it.